Welcome, everybody, to On the Deck here at the KPFA radio station in Berkeley, California. I'm your host here, mikO Tolliver. You can find me around on the interwebs at mikO Tolliver with
2 L's.
It's very important. That's how you find me. And then I'm here with our interim general manager, Mr. Antonio Ortiz.
And you can find me on the social medias at mikO Tolliver with 2 L's.
You know, you say that, and I'm actually going to start to say, no, we should find you at your boyfriend's social media, because that's how I see pictures and updates of you now. That's how you're participating in social media.
That's how I participate.
Yeah.
Via proxy.
Yeah, you might not know that, but it's like I see it, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, so many pictures of Antonio. Wow, you're doing all kinds of things
all
in
these
life.
things, yes. So if I don't know when the cameras went on, but my eyes were closed because the music that was playing was from
Music of the World.
Music of the World, hosted by Joanna Manqueros and Tafik Halabi. And that one made me want to meditate.
Yeah, it made you want to meditate. That's why I was like, oh, I was in the zone. Music of the World, Saturday morning starting at 9 a.m. It's
9 to 11, yes.
That's a really popular show here at the station. And again, if you want to listen to it, always tune in to KPFA 94.1 FM. That's the radio station. Or you can always go back on live on our website, kpfa.org.
Yes. So,
how's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah.
Second week of January.
Second week of our 75th year anniversary.
Second week of 2024.
Yeah. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's all around good. Yeah. Is it good for you? Are you? I know you're Mr. New Year's resolution. Do you feel like you're on it?
I've been asking that to many people, and most answers are, I don't do resolutions. They don't work. I know they don't work. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. Generally, resolutions don't work. People fade out.
You have to start them as soon as you think them up.
True.
Yeah.
Once you start them,
move in with the momentum. You can't just be like, I'm going to wait till January 1st because everything's going to be better. We're going to have this baby and our relationship is going to be fine.
Everything is going to be fine on this particular date. That's when everything starts. So, yeah. Well, anywho.
But, you know, one thing we did have actually started for last week is that we were talking about the listener survey, right? Okay, and so you told people, go online, fill out the listener survey, which you can still do, www.kpfa.org/listener-survey.
Oh, you remember that? Okay, great, because I didn't.
Actually, remember I was telling you, like, can you give me a link so we can put it up online? And then you gave me that one. I was like, that's actually really easy.
Yeah. Well, another way to do it. Okay, great. So it's kpfa.org/listener-survey. The other way is just go to kpfa.org on the front page, on the menu, second item in the menu, listener survey, or there's a little drop-down photo with a little message that says, oh, I should change that because it's Happy New Year. I mean, we can still celebrate Happy New Year. It's week 2.
I mean,
but it'll say, join us, fill out the listener survey, and there's a link there.
Okay, perfect. So I guess in keeping with like New Year's resolutions or maybe things we're starting in the new year, you put that out last week. You have people telling people, do it, do it, do it. And then I said to you, well, let's have you respond to some of those.
To some of the surveys?
Some of the responses from the listeners.
Oh, well, okay, just for everyone to note. The listener survey, 4 parts. Everything is required. There is no long form or short form answer on this survey because it's the first one out of, we'll be sending another quarterly survey, or I'll be sending another quarterly survey in April. And in that one, it'll have a little section for short form answers. But what mikO's talking about is that some people have responded via email with some questions. But
I got some of them here for you.
All right, well, let's see how this goes.
Ready? We're going to do this. We're going to do it live on the air.
Live?
We're going to do some responses.
Is it live on the air or live on?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, we're live right now. Hey, what's up?
Here we are, live.
I know some
of
you guys are watching
deck.
this after the fact. Maybe you're watching it later on social media. Maybe you're watching it later on Berkeley Community Public Access stations, right?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. You ready? You ready to do it?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
All right. So I guess now, am I supposed to say the person's name, or do we have to be anonymous, or what do you want?
Well, they probably should not be named if they didn't give permission to say their name.
Okay.
But maybe you can give the gist of the question.
I'm going to give you the gist of it. Although some people here totally set their names. They left, like, addresses to get back into their phone numbers. But, you know, we're not going to put that all out on the interwebs.
Yeah, unless they give permission that we can use it.
So I'm going to call them just by their initials.
Okay.
Okay. So this is AT.
Okay.
AT filled out your survey and then said, I love KPFA, but background briefing with Ian Masters is pro-war propaganda and should be immediately removed from the schedule. His guests are paid pro-war propagandists that will say anything to perpetuate U.S. empire. He hides his pro-war beliefs by focusing so much on being anti-Trump. He is complete garbage. Why does he have a show? You know, I feel like you really should answer this just because we do actually get regular comments about background briefing. Yeah. And I feel like this is your time right now to do just a general once-over of like, what do you got to say about that?
The general once-over is that a background briefing was a show that was done at KPFK in LA. It's a show that was done in the Pacifica Network. Right now, it is a filler show at that 3 o'clock time slot to see how it does. And so for anyone who's unhappy with that, please feel free to fill out the listener survey. Let us know. In section 2, there's a bunch of options that'll say, and it's for every single show. So there's going to be 80 shows in that section of the listener survey. And then for that show, you can just write down if you listen to it regularly, you listen to it sometimes, you listen to it rarely, or don't even listen to it. And then the fourth option is that you've heard it and it's not your preference. And I would say put that response there because in the end, what we need to find out is from a large group of people filling out the survey, what are the listening not the listening habits, but how are the people who are doing the survey? What do they like listening to? What do they actively listen to? What have they heard and maybe they don't prefer listening to? And I think that's one way to do it. We're also going to have another part of the survey in April where we'll ask the reasons why. On this one, really, for us, the main issue is that we need to save some money for the station. And there are some things that we were doing before where we were required to edit content to play at 3 o'clock, and that required people power. We also needed to coordinate with some of the programming that was repackaged that was becoming outdated. So it's not an ideal situation. I do know that there's also some comments that have liked the show. There's some comments that don't like the show. And right now, we're looking forward to seeing how many people, you know, if you don't like it, then just go on there and say, heard it, not my preference, and then we can see from there the amount. And right now, it's kind of a filler show. We're seeing what we can do with it, how it gets traction, how it does fundraising-wise. That's another option. With regards to the comments that they have, I mean, you know, the programs that we have here all on the station, the host producers are the main producers of the show. They get their guests. And if you need to have like more answers about the content themselves, you know, best thing to do is contact the hosts. Also, we need to talk as a team about the content that's on the air, and that's going to be a bigger discussion. And that's, you know, it's probably not going to be a sufficient answer for everyone because they're looking for actually response to those particular issues. And at this moment, I'm not prepared to give you a response about that. But I want you to know that what we're trying to figure out is ways to save money at the station. This is just a temporary fix right now. We're seeing how it goes. And then after the survey and also the next survey that asks for more responses from everyone about their favorites and their least favorite shows, we'll go from there. So just know that we're hearing your messages and we're taking that information in.
Wow, that was a lot.
All right, let's go to the next one.
All right. This one is from KS, who says that they are retired, so they listen at all times of the day except night hours, depending on what is on. As you can see from the list of shows I listen to regularly. No matter what you have on from about 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., I'm unlikely to tune in regularly or even rarely, as that is when I'm asleep. Though I have to say that from the brief promos on the evening news, I haven't heard anything I wouldn't turn off immediately, no matter when it aired. When I was working, I mostly listened on Sunday morning and afternoon. I was always on the move on Saturday, plus 6 to 8 a.m. and 5 to 8 p.m. weekdays. I have to say that Amy Goodman was a real education for my daughter as a preteen and teen, but she doesn't listen now. I hope the survey gives you some useful information to try to grow the audience and the donations. I hope that you continue to air a diversity of programs, including ones I never listened to cater to different interests and tastes in music. I want to actually comment on this one first before you do. I love the part where she says that the brief promos on the evening news, and here's why I'm excited about that. I worked really, really hard, programming coordinator here, KPFA. And we put together actually all of these promos, me and the interns. We put together all these music promos so that we could find a way to promote the 60% of music that we have here at KPFA, because KPFA is 60% music, and we have all these diverse shows, and some of them are in the middle of the night. Just like she said, that's too late for her to be up. She doesn't listen to it. Mm-hmm. But I love that she said that, from what I've heard from the samples in the news, that she wouldn't turn it off. So that touches my heart. Thank you, KS. Because I worked really hard so that we could have that nice little music break. We wanted to change it up. We always did the upfront promo, and we're like, let's do something a little fresh, a little bolder. Let's stop and have 60 seconds of music and promote our shows. Because how can we promote the music shows? Because that's what we want to do. We want to drive more attention to them as well. So I really like that particular comment.
Oh, excellent. For everyone out there, the KPFA, on KPFA, let me backtrack a little bit, thinking faster than I'm speaking. But on the radio, we have about 80, you would have seen it in the listener survey. There's 80 programs there that we're asking people to state whether they listen to it frequently or infrequently, or however it is set up in the survey. And so one thing that KT was bringing up is the music shows. Music shows on KPFA go from 8 o'clock at night all the way till I think it's 5 in the morning, Monday through Friday, and then we have a bunch of music shows on the weekends with just a sprinkling of news and public affairs shows on Saturday and Sunday. So we're predominantly music programming here at KPFA. And one thing that, is it KS? KS brought up is not listening at a particular time. So in the survey, it does ask, what time of day do you mainly listen to, right? I know it's hard for some folks because they listen to it in different parts, but essentially, are you more of a morning listener at a particular time or afternoon listener? And really, we're only giving one option. So I know that it's not all encompassing, but we're trying to figure out where are the largest bulk. And so if you regularly listen to a particular time, that's good for us to know. That being said, we do understand that there are programs that are after 12 midnight or even after 10 o'clock that people aren't really, not that many people are listening to. And so that is something that I understand as the general manager here, that most people, aren't going to be listening at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? That being said, all of that is being taken into account in the survey. So if we see that a show that plays at 2 o'clock in the morning has a drastically smaller listenership, we understand that, right? And so essentially we're looking at everything. Who knows? We might find a surprise that there's one show at 2 in the morning that's just getting all this listenership. And it's good for us to know that, right? But based off of the trends and how people and their sleeping patterns and all that jazz, it's not surprising. And it's not anything that would be, quote unquote, used against a show. Just I think that's the concern of, like, how could that this listener judge a particular show if they don't listen to it? But it's good for us to know what people listen to, when they mainly listen. And for us, I'm just looking forward to find what is that surprise of, oh, this one that we didn't, it's in a time frame that would garner less listenership, but for some reason it's doing really well, right? It'll be good for us to know, like, what is it about that show that's attracting people, that's keeping them there, right? Or having them tune in at that particular hour, right? And then also the reverse can happen too. It's like, okay, this is supposed to be a very popular time, and it doesn't look good for this particular show for whatever reason. And so we're looking for that information to find out what's working, what's not working, right? And we're keeping the listener survey simple, and the simplest way to do it right now at this step is to find out, do you actively, regularly listen to it, or do you not?
Wow.
All right.
That was a lot again.
Okay.
But it's good. I think you're really explaining what it is we're looking for, like why we need this, because we did get a lot of people respond to it, and then even sent us emails being like what their experience was of filling out the survey. So I'm going to do one more. You ready?
Okay.
This one is from, why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because it's like,
it's responses from the general manager, direct responses from the general manager.
Responses.
Here we go. Okay. This one's from AH.
Okay.
Says, I filled out the survey. I'd like to say that just answering how often I listen to each show often does not reflect how good I think the show is or how often I'd like to listen to it. For example, I think I have heard every part of the Laura Flanders show once in the past year, but I sometimes listen to the Ralph Nader radio hour. However, I think I prefer the Laura Flanders show. I just don't know when it is on, and the RNRH is on at the same time, at a time, I am more likely to turn on the radio.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
I guess they're feeling like
they're feeling torn.
Yeah,
yeah.
No, I think
not torn, but
no. Here's the thing they said at the beginning. They're just like answering how often they listen to the show doesn't reflect how good they think the show is. They want to say how good the show is. Like they want to do a straight up critique on the show.
Yeah. Okay. So for that, this is where we're gonna go with the second. Not the second, but the next survey that's going to happen in the next quarter.
The one where
April.
we can have like short, long form answers.
Yeah.
Then you have to read all those.
Yes, but so note for everyone, the reason why this is all being doled out in smaller chunks is one for efficiency, because there's just going to, having a huge survey that's going to be like an hour to fill out, it's just too much, I think, it's not really too much. The goal is to try to make it as a small enough commitment that you can do right now. And then when we get to the next one, there's another round of questions. And that one will have some questions and answers of what's your favorite and why, what's your least favorite and why. And it's going to be also a smaller survey, just because remember, there's going to be only, one or two or a few people that are just kind of looking at this to kind of compile it. And the goal is to make it as efficient as possible with time. And so that's really where we're going to go with these quarterly surveys. And it's also to get engagement with all of you, constantly hear from you, some of your feedback, and then just kind of dole it out into different chunks, right? So that way it's less of a time commitment for you, and also it helps us be successful with gathering all the information and figuring out from the information that we gathered what tidbits of knowledge that we're gathering. We need to gather information so we kind of know, based off of what we see, what's working, what's not working, and why, right? And just kind of honing it in to be more specific at particular surveys. And so I get some of, I want to say, the push and pull with it, because I think I've also seen another comment of there's so many other shows that I like, and we're going to get there. That's what I'll say. It's like, don't feel like this is going to be the only chance that you're going to be able to participate. There's going to be more ways to participate. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to gather that information in a way that's going to be useful now, help us move forward, and then we'll open up to another survey that'll ask other questions that'll help us move to the next step. The other thing is, for those who want to have more engagement, there's other things that are happening down the pipeline, just so you know. You probably get some information about some listener forums. We did some listener forums last year over in October, November, where there were small breakout I'm going to call them breakout groups of 8 people, where they were talking about their feedback about the station, and anything about the station, its finances, its relationship with Pacifica, the programming, all that stuff. So that's going to be there's going to be another round of 3 listener forums that are happening in February. We're in January. In February. So that's going to be a way to have more engagement, if that's something that you would like to participate in. And then also in May, I want to say May, 3rd weekend of May, on Saturday. I don't have the date remembered in my head, but it's going to be with the local station board. They are doing a town hall in May. It's going to be 2 hours. All listeners are welcome to come in, get on the queue to state what they feel about the station, how they feel about the station at the town hall. And that's also happening in May as a way to participate. And if you ever go to, or you know about the local station board meetings, every other month, there's one that's happening this Saturday on the 13th of January. There's another one in March. There's another one in May, and so on and so forth. And at 12:25, to my understanding, there's always a public comment portion of the meeting. So at 12:25, they take public comments, and you're welcome to join, listen in on the LSB meeting. It is open to the public, and then make a comment there. So,
wow.
Yeah. So we're working on, and there's already structures in place that have been set in place to get engagement, but we're also tweaking the current engagement that we have, and then also adding other engagement to to get more information and more of a relationship and interaction with our listeners to figure out what's not working, what's working really well, and so on and so forth. Okay?
All right. I think that concludes our responses from the general manager.
Excellent.
Again, want to remind you to fill out the listener survey. And then maybe, you don't know, we'll pick one of your responses and we'll have Antonio reply to them directly. So to do that, www.kpfa.org/listener-survey.
Yes.
Wow.
Excellent.
How long does the survey take?
It should take 15 to 20 minutes, everybody. It should take 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, and this is one comment that's been coming up. Section 2 has 80 questions in it, and that's for every single show that we have on KPFA.
So you have to make a comment on every show, whether you listen to it or not.
Yeah.
But the point of that is to know who's listening to these shows and who's not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And I think also for the shows, it would be great for them if everyone who was doing the survey actually took a moment to just honor that show and say, okay, I either listen to it or I don't listen to it. Whichever it's regularly, sometimes, rarely, or don't listen to it, and then also have listened to it, but not my preference. I think in the end, for each show, it would be good for them to know that each individual person who did the survey actually focused on that show for just a brief moment and said, okay, this is my truth about how often I listen to this show, right? Because I could imagine there's a lot of shows that get glossed over. And so I think that's why, from my point of view, it's important that everyone honor each show and at least do a response for each. It's a long section. If you miss a question or two or miss a show or two, it won't allow you to move forward. So you're going to have to go and scroll back. And so I can understand why that would be very frustrating for folks. But remember, you're doing a service to the station. So just scroll back, and there should be a red X or red star on any of the shows that were missed.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Wow.
We turned into a really serious show today. Like
yeah.
I feel like we're like on upfront level today.
I don't know.
Oh, you don't think I can go toe to toe with Brian Edwards-Tinker?
If you wanted to, you could go toe to toe. But
I'm just saying.
I don't know if I'm that.
We're very serious and very informative today.
Yes, we're not talking about any public current event stuff that's happening right now. So that's a different thing.
I think we might keep this segment next week, and we'll have you answer some more. However, I'm going to rehearse with you over the week and be like, let's do shorter responses.
Okay.
They were a lot. I was like, wow. No. I love when you're talking. I was just like, oh, I want to have some fun.
You want to have some fun? Oh, okay. Well, can't have that when I got
I know, but that's what surveys are all about, right? It's like it's so serious. But it's good. We really do need that information, and we appreciate everybody taking the time to fill them out.
Yeah, well, thank you. I wasn't thinking this was going to be a great segment at first. Like, oh, my gosh, this is going to freak me out, but...
You like it?
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so we're going to do it next, and I think we're going to do it as long as we have this survey going, because then that's the thing that I do see around here is like people feel like sometimes they send comments about the station or whatever, and they're just like, it just goes into the abyss. I didn't get a response, so I felt like let's have a little time here for you to respond. We'll do 3. We'll do 3 again next week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah? Okay.
Cool.
That's good. But in the meantime, some more
What's
fun
next?
stuff. What are
fun stuff?
Fun stuff. Yeah. What just because that's next week. What are you going to do this weekend?
What am I going to do this weekend? You know what I'm going to do this weekend.
I know. That's why I just wanted to point it out.
Are you pulling that out of me?
I do. I just want to brag that everybody, me and Antonio are going to be down at Yoshi's on Friday because we're going to go see Sheila E.
Excited about that.
So maybe we tell people like if you're going to be there at Sheila E, you like Sheila E. Rock, Holly Rock.
Take a
Everybody
photo with us.
Holly Rock.
Post it on social media.
You guys come down there and say hello to us because we want to pump that up. And I think our music, is he our music coordinator? DJ Mike Biggs, who is the host of I Had That Tape, is working to do more events and promote more events around with KPFA music events. So I think, could we say that this technically is a semi-official KPFA mashup for Sheila E., or is it just you and I are just going? And we're having fun?
I think it's just you and I going because we wanted to. We're doing it separately, but I do know that the station has offered some tickets, so you have to listen to the show that's offering tickets to this show.
Yeah, I know that Don't Disturb This Groove is offering tickets to Kindred Soul, so I think we're going to be offering more tickets, so be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
Next week is a holiday, MLK Day on Monday, so the station is going to be closed.
Yeah, so programming will continue as always. But on the back end, everyone is going to take that moment to honor the day, MLK Junior Day, and also have some time to rest.
It's been snowing up in Tahoe, so I think I'm going to do my swish.
So someone's not really going to be resting. They're going to be snowboarding.
I'm going to be resting my mind in the meditative spirit of being present in the moment on the snow.
Present in the moment. Moving the body is going to get me to move the soul.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
All right. Now, we also want to remind you guys, please tune into the KPFA Best of podcast, where we put our monthly on the decks on there, and we have new episodes. Do you know, actually, pretty soon I'm getting ready to drop a new episode from Africa Today, so stay tuned for that.
Excellent.
Yeah, right? I know,
Yeah.
Walter Turner is going to be part of our Best of, right? So, again, wherever you guys get podcasts, you can always find samples of KPFA. You can always tune into KPFA at 94.1 FM or go online to www.kpfa.org. And now you know what I'm really about to say to you, Antonio.
Before we go to that next one, talking about the podcast for anyone who doesn't know, right? So just know the podcast Best of are a few of our shows that are sharing a very notable show.
More than just a few.
More than a few, but a notable show that they did, I guess, this past year. And it's being shared on podcast platforms that aren't kpfa.org or our radio station.
Yeah, you just search KPFA Radio.
Yeah, so the whole goal of it is to reach a wider audience. And so for anyone who's wondering, like, why do they have this Best of podcast when I'm already listening to it on the radio? Remember, this is our way to expand, have a wider reach. And so if you listen to KPFA on 94.1 FM or you listen to it on the website, but you have friends who don't know about us, feel free to let them know, or you can even share it, that we are located and we have a Best of podcast in these other podcast platforms.
Yes, it is being listened to by people around the world. I've been watching the numbers.
Excellent.
Yeah, Australia, Poland,
wow.
Ireland,
yes.
Peru, Colombia. I forget all the like Germany. It's a bunch. Japan.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, actually, all around to see where people are. I'm like, oh, wow, people are listening to KPFA there.
I wonder if we can get responses from people internationally.
Ooh,
right.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
maybe we release something on the Best of podcast that tells people, fill out our listener survey.
Yeah. Actually, you can fill out the listener survey if you are not in the United States.
Yeah.
Right? And so one of it will say, because you won't have a U.S. zip code, you just put in 00000 and then put in the city and the country that you live in.
Ooh, that's nice.
Right?
I like that.
So we are accepting responses from all of our listeners.
So again, fill out the listener survey. Maybe Antonio might respond to it here live on the deck.
Yes.
What time is it, Antonio?
It is time for the donor highlight.
That's great.
I jumped the gun a little bit too quickly. I was
no, that's great. That's perfect. We had everything. We had the music. We had you guys, have you guys been missing the donor highlight?
Have we been missing the donor highlight?
I don't know. I guess I'm asking people out there in the world. I'm hoping they're not really. I can't hear them respond, but I'm just going to assume that they did. Be like, yeah, I love that part.
I missed the donor. I want to know who's been supporting KPFA.
All right. So who is our donor that we're going to highlight this week on the deck?
We are going to thank Dean and Carrie from Sherman Oaks.
Thank you, Dean and Carrie from Sherman Oaks, for donating to the station. As you know, that KPFA is 100% listener supported. We have been that way for
75 years.
Because this is the 75th year, and you have been a part of making that happen. So we want to say thank you, and to let everybody else know that we say thank you to you all, even if we didn't mention your name. But please continue to donate to KPFA Radio.
Yes.
Dope?
That is dope.
All right, and with that, time to remind them to do something.
I'm being prompted here.
I can do it.
No, I could do it. I could do it because I got it right now. You can follow us on social media at Facebook. Let me do that again. You can follow us on.
I love how you tell them you can follow us on the social media.
On the social media or at the social media with the social media. Okay. You can follow us on social media at. Let me try one more time. You can follow us on social media on Facebook at KPFA 94.1. On Twitter, or AKA X, twitch.tv, Instagram, and TikTok at KPFA Radio.
Yes, and you can also watch us on YouTube at KPFA Radio.
Yes, on YouTube at KPFA Radio as well.
Yeah, but remember to follow us, like our stuff, share it,
subscribe.
Comment, yes,
subscribe.
Stimulate the algorithm, all in the name of KPFA. We appreciate it so much.
Share with your friends.
Yes, and with that, we want to say thank you to our production team who's helped us set up. They are actually in the back behind us. But that would be Peter Stickney, Jess Hutchison, Clay Peterson and Kai Gustafson. They actually helped us. They do help us a lot. Like when it comes to like just setting up everything. We're on the servers. We got all of our computers set up. We got all of our cameras set. We do all the mic. It's been really great.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you, crew.
Yeah.
So round of applause for the crew that helps this happen every week, and also the once a month on the deck.
Yeah, I wish we could be like men on film. We'd be all like 2 snaps and a twist.
We could, but we would have to practice and rehearse what we're gonna do.
Okay, maybe I'll start writing some down there, and I'll have you just read them, and you'll never know what's coming, and you just read it, and you're like,
yeah, it's like what?
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, all right. And with that, we want to remind you again. Please tune into On the Deck Tuesdays at 2 p.m. We are always here with the general manager. Your chance to really interact. See, he's a real person. He's a true face. But yes, thank you so much. Again, tune in to KPFA 94.1 FM. Go online, www.kpfa.org. With that, we want to say thank you. My name is mikO Tolliver. I'm here with our interim general manager, Antonio Ortiz. And with that, we will take us out with Blues by the Bay.
Yay. Yeah.